Last season saw every dramatic twist and turn you could imagine, all the way down to the last lap of the final race. And in the case of the championship fight, the twists kept coming after the racing ended. Unfortunately, the penalty system cost Rondeletto a championship and allowed James O'Brien to triumph. Will Octavio find redemption this season? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round one of the PRL NASCAR Cup Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Chad Irvine. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Starting things off with a wild one, we have arrived at Bristol Motor Speedway. Fast and compact, it's renowned for the unpredictability it usually brings. Let's head to our track guide to learn more.
Welcome to Bristol, the last Coliseum, Thunder Valley, the world's fastest half mile. A driver once described racing here as flying a fighter jet in a high school gymnasium. And after a few laps in the seat, you certainly grasp just what they were talking about. Just over a half mile in distance means that Bristol is one of the shortest tracks that the premier cars on the surface race on. But the 30 degrees of banking in the corners is greater than every track out there except Daytona and Talladega. Using the same technique that other tracks around the country have used, back in 2007, Bristol went to a progressive banking model in the corners. 24 degrees of banking at the bottom lane of the track with 30 degrees up there scraping against the fence. Bristol is also one of the last Premier Series tracks to have two separate pit roads. Each straightaway is just over 800 feet long, so you don't get a lot of time to react in the seat, especially considering the fact that you sail up into the corners at 130 miles an hour. Bristol always keeps drivers on edge. Some drivers even claim that they lose orientation while driving here because the front stretch and the back stretch are so similar to each other. In racing, they say in order to finish first, you must first finish. I don't know if they were thinking about Bristol when they came up with that expression, but by golly does it fit here. All in all, drivers, fans, and even commentators alike all love the Bristol Motor Speedway. This has been our guide to Bristol Motor Speedway. Now strap in and enjoy.
Well, Chad, they call it the last great Coliseum, but will it be the scene of unfortunate happenings for our rivals, for our gladiators, or will we see triumph out there today?
Only time will tell, but these guys put in a spectacular show week in and week out. Last season was a thrilling finish to the end of it, and hopefully we'll see more of that fantastic action here tonight. Bristol always puts on some great racing.
It certainly does. And before we get to that racing, we want to remind you that our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Cup Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. We talked about some of the drama from the championship last season. If we look at the Drivers' Championship, I mentioned the dramatic twist at the end. It was separated by 1 point in favor of Rondeletto before the steward's decision. Afterwards, Rondeletto wound up 1 point behind. That is how tight things were. So O'Brien is crowned our champion. Bradley Holly very close behind, only 4 points back in the end. It could have been any one of those three. Matthew Long and Abner Acosta are also still desperately seeking that championship, and once again came just shy of that goal. We also have a team's championship. Chad, why don't you run us down how that one went?
Of course, it was a close one there as well, with private label Team Hype with a 16-point margin of victory over James Bird Racing, and they were only 4 points ahead of the third-place team of Whataback Racing Black. There was a large gap back to SGE Esports Slipstream, followed right behind them, 3 points behind between fourth and fifth between the other SGE Esports team of Apex. So very close finishes all throughout your top five there.
Certainly gave us just as much action. Now, today's event's obviously going to have a lot of laps for these drivers, as it's 250 times around here. And let's not forget, they have limited tire sets, only 5 total. That includes the one they start on. It's an open setup series, and they have no spare car, so if you damage it, you got to deal with that. And we expect a lot of damage to happen here today at Bristol, as it tends to do. A 24 incident limit will also keep them from beating and banging too hard, or else they'll get disqualified immediately. Now, the other thing is we are in Season 4 of 2021, which means it's time for the playoffs. And the Precision Racing League always has their playoffs in this Season 4. They've been working on it all year long. You will see specific drivers sporting blue banners at specific parts of their cars. There you can see on the 3 different makes what you need to be looking for. If you see the banner on the windscreen or on the front or the back there on the rear wing, then that is how you know that they are in the playoffs. They are one of the playoff runners. So that'll give our drivers one more thing to have to worry about, at least a number of them out there, to be concerned with their competition this season. As we take a look at the 67, we're waiting on the qualifying to get started, Chad. And I have to imagine a lot of the drivers have been doing whatever practice they can to do some close racing around here, because they're probably going to be doing a lot of it.
Yeah, there's not much room to run away and hide once you realize, once you're, if you're out in front of the field, once you get far enough ahead, you're about 5 seconds behind a lap car. So once, you can't really find a way to run away and hide and get away from everybody else. We've seen these guys, they're getting lined up now, it looks like, to get some group practice, and they did that a lot of the last season as well. So these guys just getting ready to get set. You'll see a big group of cars right here starting to form up. They're going to be rolling here in just a matter of seconds to get group practice and try to get just that much more comfortable with all their competitors here to start this playoff season.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those not familiar with sim racing, this is a relatively common occurrence in a lot of practices that you'll see. They call it a pit party, where drivers just want to get used to racing around each other so that they're not just hot lapping by themselves and get into the race and feel inexperienced on that end. They understand it takes the complete driver to really be fast, especially here on the oval side and especially at short tracks such as Bristol. But they don't have too much time left before we get to that qualifying, where they're only going to have 2 laps. How important do you think that qualifying is going to be here, Chad? Is passing going to be relatively easy, or are you in big trouble if you botch your quali and wind up towards the back of the pack?
It really depends on how your car is set up and how you feel here in the current track conditions. With as I said, there's not much room to run away and kind of get some clean air, so you really can't set up in that perspective. But as long as you can save your tires, you're going to see a lot of passing out here. The biggest thing in terms of qualifying is if you probably want to be near the front. That way, if a wreck happens, hopefully it's behind you early on.
I have to imagine be a bit like Talladega and Daytona, where we always talk about you could be at the back, but you really don't want to be. And here you can't really hang back, as Chad was mentioning, as you'll get lapped quite quickly. Just a few more seconds, and then putting some practice in. Laps do go by so fast that you're looking at sub 15 seconds around here with these Gen 6 cars. So they got a few in, even though they started this with a little more than a minute left on the warm-up. Andrew Payne, for what it's worth, is our fastest car in the warm-up. Conquer was following him by about 0.03 of a second, so quite close there. We'll see if it's just as tight. And one of the front runners there as well. He finished third in that warm-up. All right, we now head out. They've each got their own personal racetrack to run their 2 laps. Who has got the quickest 1-lap pace today?
It's going to be fun to watch these guys. Qualifying is, especially at a short track like this, you know, there's little tricks and tips, and getting a line just right is so crucial to getting your laps turned in as fast as possible. Everybody that was out there in the pre-race practice session was within half a second of each other. While that might sound like it's pretty close, when a lap is less than 15 seconds, that can definitely add up, and you'll be lapped pretty quick.
Looks like Cowgill's going to be the first to cross the line with a time. It's a 14.6. So what's everybody else got? Guerra is not able to compete with that. He slots into second. Still waiting for others to put one down, since it doesn't take that long to put a lap in. They can wait quite a while before they come out here. We might see a few drivers just give it a bit to see what everybody else has underneath them. Looks like Rondoletto close, but not close enough. His second lap does improve to a 14.342, and he goes to the pole with that one.
That's an absolute flyer right there. 14.342 is even faster than we saw in the practice session. Of course, you're going to be running less fuel here, I would assume, than you would in the real race setup. But these guys absolutely making mincemeat of this track. 13.3 for Rondoletto, trying to pick up right where he left off last season.
Andrew Payne, who was quick in the warm-up, comes around for his first lap, and he puts it into 5th. Already on his second, as we see Walden come through. He'll bump up to 7th place. Here comes Payne, and looks like he'll improve to a 14.4. Good enough for the front row, but still a 10th off. Rondoletto really just put a stonking lap in.
I would love to see what his secret was to that lap. He's considerably in front of the rest of the field. He must know something out there, some sort of grip hack or something to get that car to rotate and keep his momentum off the corner.
Josh Conquer must have scraped the wall on his first lap, as that one got deleted. So the 54 under the gun to really perform on his second lap around. This is Charlie Sumner, and as he crosses a 14.5, put him into 12th. Josh Conquer has a 14.6. Wow, Conquer starting no higher than 19th today. He's going to have a lot of work to do when the green falls.
That's something to watch out for, because he's a very talented driver, and he's going to have a lot of work to do, especially keeping his car clean. You mentioned that incident limit earlier in the show, and that could come into...
Raphael Hubie, that's a new name this season. He'll start from 6th as Cowgill. Good enough for 7th. Guidell, another one that we haven't seen before, is P8. Mark Kalin starts 9th, and Matthew Long rounds out your top 10.
Starting in the 11th spot out of the state of Texas, we just saw him turn his second qualifying lap. Bradley Holly, followed by Trent Dinkle on the outside of row number 6, then Taylor Stout and Jamie Knopp. Then Robert Besaw Jr. and Scotty Johnson make up row number 8. Then in row number 9, it is Waldo Walden and Joao Guerra, and followed by Randy McHaney, wrapping up the top 20.
Daniel Simmons will start in 21st. Pat Harvey to his outside. It's Michael Witt starting 23rd. And as we covered, Josh Conquer with a disappointing qualifying begins way back down in the field here in 24th. Zemke will be the next one back in 25th, with Romero in 26th. Skip Gandy starts P27. Then it's Labosco in 28th, with Baron Hilton starting in 29th. 30th is Chris Hudson, and CM Pennington was the last one with a qualifying time in 31st. Zivkov, Wilson, Holland, and Hutchison will round out your 35-car field here today. They are being thrown straight into the deep end here, Chad.
Yeah, this is a fantastic way to start the season, and a lot of these guys, of course, know each other from previous seasons here in racing. And the biggest thing that I'm going to be watching is some of these new guys. You mentioned them while we were looking through their grid, guys like Hubie and Guidell. just having to work their way through the field. They're the wild cards that nobody has seen here in this league yet before.
QB sporting a 3,000 plus I rating, and Guidell is as well. So they're no slouch. The question is, how will they stack up against some of the more experienced drivers who are used to how the dynamic of this field works and kind of know how to race one another. Might be some adjustment period for that. And if there ever was a track that you didn't want to have to do that at, I have to imagine that Bristol would be it. We're going to be going racing here in just a moment as the iRacing pace car is going to release Rondoletto, trying to make right what he nearly missed out on last season with the championship. Was so fast, took wins, showed that he had what it takes, had the consistency, but didn't have the cleanliness to claim it, to clinch it in the end. It's the pace car now peels in. Rondoletto has control, waiting for the green flag. Green is out. Oh, and it's a big stack up behind him. Cervantes tried to go too early. That caught James O'Brien out. He might lose out to Andrew Payne, who's going to be able to get in front of him. They start to go single file up at the front of the pack, but it is still too wide through much of the field.
Yeah, not a great start there from Cervantes into 25. You saw him kind of get rear-ended just a little bit by James O'Brien, but so far everybody rolling in the right direction. We're clean for 2 laps right now as we start off season 4 of the PRL Cup Series.
Abner Costa working side by side with Hubie, the newcomer. The 21, though, has that desired high line. Seems to be giving him a little bit more momentum. The 5 dropping back slightly now as they come down the straight into turn 3. But he's holding on with those fresh tires, trying to keep up with him.
And Bradley Holly right now a little further back in the field, but he's already made up 2 spots, and he's hunting to get even more. He's right on the back of Patrick Cowgill.
Ooh, and Andrew Payne has overtaken Cervantes for second, or at least he's close to doing it. There you can see them still side by side. And we get a caution early. That looks to be Guerra. I know he was in some hot water with the stewards last season. Let's hope he can avoid that this time. I think this actually started all the way on the backstretch between himself and Josh Conker. So bad news for Josh starting down the order. He's going to get a little bit of damage from this one, but here's the 519 on the bottom in the green. A little bit of contact, and unfortunately that chucks him straight into the corner.
And the other driver that was involved there, that was the 26, I believe, of Michael Witt. Yeah, he's missing his entire front clip. So unfortunate for him to be collected in that one as well. Just nowhere for him to go as the car slid across the track in front of him.
Tell you what, the 57 of Zemke did a great catch. If we get an onboard with him, he got a bump from behind. I'm trying to figure who that was. That was Baron Hilton, who just shoved him a little bit as they all checked up. And the 57 was all the way sideways, somehow caught it and kept it from going around.
And here we see from the top of his car, yeah, you'll see the contact come as he checks up. Everybody behind him doesn't, somehow doesn't collect any other race cars.
Great job there to keep that from going worse here early in the race. But a few unfortunate victims in that incident that are going to have to get some repairs. Guerra definitely one of those. I see Zivkov ditching or diving into the pits rather. Simmons looks like he's headed in. Witt is in there. Otherwise, not many have joined them.
Yeah, and so far this race, so we got a decent amount of laps. We ran 6 laps there pretty green, and those guys seem to get up front, at least seem to get pretty comfortable with one another, but this is going to stack everybody right back up once again. Curious
to see how they're going to score that one on the caution penalties. If that one's going to be Guerra, I would assume so, but you never know because they have more chance to go back and look at that more intently than we do oftentimes. But they're getting ready to get double file and should get going pretty soon. It is still Rondoletto leading, but now it'll be Payne starting to his outside as Cervantes gets slotted down into 3rd, and James O'Brien will be starting on the outside in 4th. You mentioned that we had a few movers. Conker didn't make much progress. He's still in 21st, but where is Holly? He's still in 9th.
Currently in 9th. He's made up 2 spots, so he's done a little bit of work. but not too many guys have moved up too far. Guys further back like Baron Hill, he's up 4 spots. But here's a look at some of your biggest moves there. Is right now, yeah, your biggest mover up at the front is Waldo Walden, who's up 4 spots.
All right, then. As the pace car peels in, 48 has control, and he is away quickly. Green flag is out. Payne gets a better start than what we saw before, as the 25 tries to ride low, but nothing doing there. In fact, he's going to be attacked by O'Brien around the outside. O'Brien gets fully clear. Can he finish the job? He does.
And everybody up front just trying to get single file and kind of log some laps here, just see what happens around and get more comfortable with these guys. As there you see a little bit further, that's Bradley Holly, that's 2x2 with a couple of guys.
Yeah, he's trying to pick his way up closer to the front. Acosta was trying to attack Cervantes. That didn't quite work out. Now he is fending off the orange and black of Mark Kalin, as Patrick Calgill also involved in that fight, as Matthew Long is making great moves around the outside, and he's pulling along Bradley Holly.
Good job where, the 2 car is around. He was involved in contact, and multiple cars piling into that one. Looks like we were watching a little bit of Arca Break Weekly there.
Let's see, where did this one start? I think this was with the 2, I believe.
It was with the 2, some contact from behind as well, which is what started this all off.
Oh yeah, Knopf unfortunately started to spin himself, and oh boy, Charlie Sumner was kind of at the wrong place at the wrong time. I think the seas are going to part, and he'll find a car facing sideways across the track. Yeah, look at that, no place to go.
And at one point, I believe about 80% of the track was blocked. A couple of guys got through it clean. A couple other ones, unfortunately, were involved there. You see the 47 coming in and giving a little slap late.
It is, we talk about the tightness of this track. It's not just about the length of the lap, but, I mean, walls on either side. As we watch from on board, Charlie there. It's almost like a street course with, as soon as a wreck starts to unfold in front of you, where are you going to go?
Yeah, it looks a lot wider than it really is at parts of this track, and just no room to escape. We talked about this pre-race, just keeping your car clean, staying out of trouble, and a lot of guys were able to do that there. Somebody came flying in at the end. I'm not sure who that was, but yeah, they just, checking up is something you really need to be on your toes about here.
But we still haven't had a whole lot of green flag racing for those tires to get worn out, so we're not seeing anybody come in other than those involved in the incident. Maybe a few of the back markers trying to top off on fuel just to see what they can do to go on an alternate strategy. I think we're waiting for the lights to go out on the pace car still here, because we don't have everybody double file quite yet. Well, this is not a good sign, but hopefully, as they get used to one another and get things going this season, we'll start to see things clean up, and we'll be able to finish all 250 laps of this race. Curious where some of our playoff drivers are. Pulling up the sheet here very quickly. O'Brien's one of them, so he's sitting in 3rd. Abner Acosta as well, he's sitting in 5th place. Bradley Holly, we were talking about him. He's still down in 9th. I thought he was making moves, but apparently didn't get any spots in that.
And he's a very patient driver, and that's one of the reasons that he has worked his way into the playoffs. But Bradley Holly has some work to do. He's trying to get his way up to the front. He's made up 2 spots from where he started. Have to see he can't keep that momentum up.
Looks like the 8 of Zivkov coming down in the pit lane once again to get some more repairs. So we're going to go racing once again as we go double file. Pace car going to leave them to it once again. Rondeletto getting plenty of practice on these restarts.
Yeah, we haven't seen any guys really have any major issues like we did on the start of this race with the 25 spin of Cervantes spinning his tires. But now as we get set to go rolling once again, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully these guys get rolling once again. We get a solid green flag run here.
Crossing fingers. The 48 waiting for it. Green flag is out. Looks like the 93 did not get a good jump. Here comes O'Brien down his inside, starting from third position. He's clear. Can he finish it? No, he cannot. Back at it. Andrew Payne wants that second place right back. Acosta and Cervantes also side by side behind them. Look at the shot off the corner from Cervantes. He's well clear, but not so for Andrew Payne, who can't quite get that second place yet. Now he's ahead.
And the biggest thing for these guys to get trapped down on the bottom, you're going to work your tires so much harder trying to take that shorter distance around the corner. So if you're stuck down on the bottom, you're going to need to probably work your way up as soon as you can, because once your tires are gone, I mean, you're going to have a rough time of it and just praying for a caution.
Oh, Acosta is really trapped. He's now lost it to Cowgill. Looks like Long might be able to get by him. He's also being joined by Mark Kalin. Misery loves company. Kalin, though, is going to be able to dip out. He'll find a line up at the top. Oh, Bradley Holly gets loose, catches the car, and doesn't wreck the thing. But my goodness, I thought we were going to get a yellow there.
Yeah, the way that that car shot up the racetrack, not sure what was the cause of that, but fantastic bit of driving to save it. And Holly only lost, I believe, one spot out of that exchange. He's trying to make that ground right back up.
Well, up at the front, now that Payne has cleared O'Brien, he's started to run down Rondeletto. Andrew seems to have incredible pace. Look at that, the distance between first and second down to 2/10, and that was much wider before.
Yeah, first and second there, you see him. Rondeletto just trying to keep himself up to at the front of the field where he was for most of last season. Payne right there with him, but these two have something figured out that O'Brien and everybody back behind has not. They're over 3/4 of a second clear of third place.
Payne, though, running very low. You're talking about how that'll wear out the tires. Not sure why he's continuing to run that bottom line, but he seems to like it. Is there something where he can set up the car to do better on that bottom line? Do you think maybe he's got something like that underneath him?
Something in the setup might help it. He might have his car tuned to run the bottom that way, but for the most part, I think that you're going to want to see it. We've got a caution out on the track.
I think it's Chris Hudson for this one.
That one was out and over. Yeah, if you set your car up to run the bottom, you can kind of keep your tires a little bit longer than if you have it set up to run the middle, but your tires are still going to wear out a little bit faster. Let's take a look, see if we can't figure out what happened to bring out this caution.
Now, Hudson must have had some sort of technical issue here, because he's just going to pull off to the side. I saw a tiny...
Oh, his engine blew.
Oh.
Maybe, I think he was collected in one of those cautions earlier, and maybe that damaged his radiator to cause that to come out.
It's a shame of a way for things to go. Unfortunately, with him parking it down there, even though he was off the racing line, iRacing didn't like that, decided to throw the caution, and we once again slow things down just a little bit. And a lot of changes up at the front. Rondeletto still leading the way, but Payne has gotten ahead of O'Brien. And we've lost Acosta back to 7th. Holly somehow moves up to 8th in all of that craziness, despite his scary moments. So that was, that's interesting that he managed to get up a spot. I would have thought, like you said, that he would lose a position. Still, you can't count out the 184. There's a reason he has multiple championships here in the PRL.
Fantastic driver. We've seen him year in and year out compete here, and now he's got some work to do. Started in 11th up to 8th, and he's got, he's in the playoffs, so he's got a shot to take it all here in season 4. And some other guys up around him. He does have a couple of playoff drivers up in front of him to fear as well. He's also got that 29 right behind, or sorry, the 62 of Kalin right behind him to compete with for that championship spot. As you see, the blue spoiler as well as the ribbon above the windshield there.
Just trying to see who's the worst positioned right now. And I think Baron Hilton in the 47, who is in the playoffs, is currently in the worst spot. He's in 25th. There you see him down there in the red and white machine.
And we got word here from Andrew Payne that the bottom does have speed. So maybe there is something there that we're not aware of. But yeah, if you can save your tires and run that bottom, you've got a shot to do something spectacular.
So question for you then, Chad. We haven't seen, I don't think, any scheduled pit stops here in these cautions yet. The leaders have all stayed out once again. At what point do they come in? Is this a stay out as long as you possibly can, like just run the thing dry when we get all these cautions? Or would there be kind of a prime spot where like, oh, I might as well take the tires because I could start to overtake people?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just wait as long as you can here. If a caution comes out, you can get trapped not just one, but multiple laps down. With as tricky as pit entry is here as well, you definitely are going to have a tough time of it, and you could be in for a world of hurt if the caution does come out at the wrong time for you.
So highest driver to have pitted is Daniel Simmons. He's in 18th. I think he must have only taken a splash of fuel because he's only got, I see, 4.2 seconds in his box. I don't think he can get 2 tires in that amount of time. And obviously has no spare car to try and pop into place. So unless he banged away at some damage, didn't take fuel, that's the only reason I could see him having such an unusual pit time number. Meanwhile, we're getting ready to go once again, and the 48 is ready to go, and green flag is out. Is a good start for O'Brien. He's on the bottom where Payne seems to want to be, and he's going to slide in front of him. Does Payne try and now switch underneath him? He looks for it, and he's going to be able to at least get to the quarter panel, but slides back.
Yeah, and that's something that we've noticed every single start and from the start on every restart as well. The outside line just does not get rolling right away. It seems to take whoever's leading that outside just a little bit longer to react to what Ron Deletto's been doing. Right now, this battle for second is fierce, and word from Payne is some of the guys I run with told me how that line is faster. Instead of burning his right front, his setup is to focus more on wearing the right rear for even tire wear. So if you can kind of protect your right front, you'll be a lot better off than what you might see running the top and kind of just holding on for dear life up there.
Behind them, oh, some contact between Cervantes and Long. Long gave him the bumper. Didn't knock him completely loose, but definitely shook him. And now he's going to be able to get underneath. He finishes the pass.
And we saw a bit of real-world racing contact here last night in the Cup Series with Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick, and that transpired into post-race activities. And I think that these guys can keep things, focused on what they need to do on the track and kind of, not just get their target set on a car to maybe say, I want to get him back for that tap. Definitely going to pay off for these guys. They can keep their cars clean as long as they can.
A lot of racing still going on as we're watching the 7 of Quidel as he's to the outside of Conquer. Conquer, despite being a little bit involved in our first caution, has got himself up to 13th. Car doesn't seem to be too bad, but he's having to do some side-by-side racing. The hard work could wear out those tires all the more.
And a fantastic battle further back, just outside the top 10 between Ryan Goodell as well as the 54 of Josh Conquer. Man, these guys, they were side by side through the corner, and I mean, it was so much fun to watch. We got a bunch of guys running side by side, especially right back behind them as well.
As they continue to run wheel to wheel. I'm half watching this and also keeping an eye on our leaders because O'Brien's been poking his nose but hasn't been able to get the run quite yet, as Conquer, looking to make up for his poor qualifying, has passed some cars, has survived the incidents. He's taken a long time to deal with this 7 as we come now to the lead. O'Brien is nearly to the back bumper of the 48.
Yeah, these front two have not run away like they did on the first, or on that last run that we had. It was Payne that was just about 3/4 of a second behind when the caution flew, but now these front three, you see them all there together as those 3 guys trying to just run their lines and wait until something happens around them. But these guys, they're already coming up. They're about, I don't know, maybe a third of the track away from catching some lap traffic.
Oof. Managed to get underneath him. I love that for a moment. They were all 3 taking different lines through the corner. And now, once again, going to the very bottom, Andrew Payne manages to get side by side many times, but just doesn't seem to have the corner exit that he needs. They're being joined by Andrew Payne. It's starting to become a 4-car fight now for the top spot.
Yeah, Payne starting to jump around and find different lines on the racetrack, trying to get every bit of that speed out of that car. As you see just about everybody running the middle on up to the top here.
So is Andrew finding himself running out of tire now? Has he got to conserve what's left of things that we're getting a green flag run? Oh, and a brush with the wall for Ron Diletto. Octavio pushing it very hard up at the front, and he almost paid for it.
And fantastic bit of work to get away from that clean. We've seen sometimes where the car kind of just gets stuck to the wall a little bit and scrubs off a ton of speed and damages the car even more, but he just barely brushed it out of the way. Oh, there's contact between them. 93. Oh, he gets into the back of him as well, but somehow still no caution.
Wow. And I have to think that Payne and Rondoletto are not happy about that one. Moved him out of the way. I don't think that was intentional. James has not seemed like the type of driver to pull moves like that previously, but now we look back at Hawley, who goes around Payne. His momentum is shot. He is dropping like a rock.
Yeah, he's got a ton of damage to his front right. Maybe, you know, that's thrown off the steering wheel just a little bit with where that damage is on the race car, because he just didn't have much of a way to go to get around that one clean.
So we look at Cowgill just above him, and now even Dinkle goes through, so Payne's fallen all the way to 9th. Top 10, by the way, for Josh Conker already, as he's worked his way up into that position. There he is on screen in the pink, white, and black car.
And by the way, see if we can't look further back. The 66 of Taylor Stout just stuck in the middle of a huge gaggle of cars, and they're 3 wide, including the 7 with Ryan Goodell right there.
Whoa, and they're going to be able to come out the other side on that one. That was the 7 stuck in the middle. Ryan was certainly in a bit of a sandwich, as the 21 of Hubie is a bit slow. Simmons streaking away. He wants nothing to do with that mess. We might get another 3 wide as they check up quite a bit down there.
Wow, they keep peeking their nose. They are 3 wide contact there. The 20 into the wall, shoots the 57. Still no caution once again.
Oh my goodness, and I think that was Zemke once again avoiding disaster, but this time he got quite a bit of damage, smacked that outside wall. Great job for everybody to keep out of trouble on that one. If we come back to the front, Cervantes, did he have a problem? Looks like he might be falling backwards. He's fighting with the 5, as well as Bradley Hawley, all over the back of Rondoletto, who is sporting a fair bit of damage on that rear bumper.
93 of Andrew Payne now working his way down pit road. So he is going to come down the backstretch and hopefully avoid getting a penalty here. As these guys...
Dinkle got a little bit of a touch and went into the wall. That was with Cervantes. Don't think we need a replay of it, but he definitely smacked it relatively hard. So Dinkle falls back to 7th as we see ahead of them Rondoletto now passed by Acosta, who is at odds with his old rival, Bradley Hawley.
And Hawley's had a great drive so far from 11th up to 3rd, and some big movers all throughout this field. You see a bunch of cars that are running right together, but there you see Hawley trying to hold on to that 3rd spot. Abner Acosta wants that spot back.
Tires are getting pretty old now, and they've been running under the longest green flag run that they've had yet. So nobody, I think, has been blinking besides the driver of Payne, who had to come in to get his car repaired after his hard hit with the wall. So he's probably going to wind up many laps down and have to hope for some cautions to get the lucky dog in this race. Side by side between Rondoletto and the outside at the green. The blue is Trent Dinkle down below him, trying to claim this top 5. Watching from behind, that's the 25 of Cervantes. And he's going to have to fall back as he's now got to challenge himself from Josh Conker. And Conker is flying. He might actually have the spot. Looks like the momentum is not with him through the bottom.
And there you see guys trying to work different lines. The 501 up there in front of Dinkle. He goes from the bottom, shoots all the way back up across the racetrack on corner exit. just not allowing anybody to get a run to get by him. So he's holding on to that pit spot with a lot of resistance right now, trying to do everything he can not to give up any spots. He's already built a little bit of a gap back to conquer.
Take your pick. The cars have been in just pretty much every position in the top 10 here amongst our group. As now it seems Conquer is clear, Dinkle is clear, and they are taken off. So it's become a battle between Rondoletto, Cervantes, and Cowgill to decide 7th.
And right now, your leader is dealing with lap traffic, so he's going to have his hands full, as he has at least built a bit of a gap back to Matthew Long. So he has some breathing room if he gets trapped behind somebody for a corner or two. So just a matter of him being patient and trying to smartly get through this lap traffic.
And the good thing for him is I'm looking up ahead, and none of that lap traffic seems to be battling quite like what we see here. So unless he comes around to lap the top 10, he can at least get them one by one. Ooh, Cervantes drifting up and gets into the side of Rondoletto, catches the car. He's going to lose 2 more spots as Cowgill and Besaw Jr. sneak by.
And the handling has completely gone away from that race car, it seems. Getting word that Holly is getting very tight on entry, and I feel like most guys are going to be feeling the same as they start working their way now. 72 laps through this run for most of these guys. Only a handful have pitted. So yeah, just trying to feel these laps out as much as you can.
Oh, no.
And there's contact there. How is that not a spectacular crash? Fantastic bit of driving there from Besaw.
I thought for sure when they pinched Cowgill in the middle that the drivers were going to just plow into one another, and somehow they caught it. Cowgill's still working on it. Oh, and loose once again. Everybody is heads up and behind them. No, we finally have the caution. I think the 66.
Yes.
Taylor Stout.
And Randy McCanny as well involved in that one. Just nowhere for him to go. I'm not sure, he might have been the one to instigate that incident as well. We'll have to check the replay.
Well, there's only so many times that they can avoid disaster, and eventually the drivers fell victim to some crazy racing out there. But my hat is off to so many of these competitors for what they were able to put up with. Here's some of the moments where we thought stuff would happen, and then behind them, weirdly enough, it seemed to be just a simple went wide off the corner, smacked the wall, and 2 cars just slide to the bottom, as opposed to many of the multi-car tangles that we saw started to unfold before.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the 66 thought that everybody's going to wreck it from, so he checked up and then collected the car behind him. But
he just hit the outside wall, it looks like. And then the car behind him just had no place to go.
Yeah, and that's the thing here that we've talked about, is you're racing so close. Everybody now working their way down pit road. I'm going to have to wait and see how these guys get out there, and hopefully you can hit your box. It's a very tight pit road. It can be tight, pretty difficult to see your pit box.
And Payne trying to get his lap back. You can see him out there now. So looks like it pretty much, yeah, everybody is in. So that long green flag run finally caused everybody to pull the trigger. Though not many of our front runners coming in. They're way back there. Finally, we're seeing Rondoletto into his pit stall. Cervantes, and Rondoletto missed his pit stall. Someone going clean through. Labasco must have missed his. First one out is going to be O'Brien. Acosta behind him. Bradley Hawley, third out, with Matthew Long, the next one. Skip Gandy. Now he is going down through the order, and so is Labasco. So O'Brien cycles back through to the lead.
Yeah, and I think for some of these guys, it's just great for them to, they're just kind of breathing a sigh of relief, able to get some fresh tires on their cars. And how far down did... Okay, yep, so it looks like a lot of these guys that were running up front able to maintain where they were. Guys like Conquer, Hobley, they came in right where they came out, right where they came in. But yeah, a lot of guys able to just get through their lane.
End of line penalty for James O'Brien, I think. He's just pulled off. Yes, indeed, he was given a penalty. I'm not exactly sure what it's for. We're being told that he passed the pace car. Oh, I think this was during, since this is a single pit lane, he must have done that as they were going through the transition from the front to back.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, man, that hurts. From the lead, literally the lead to the very back.
And he's shown the ability to get around guys and do so cleanly, but with what we were seeing, some of those fantastic three-wide battles and stuff, he's going to have a lot more work to do than when he was just trying to get by some of the back markers on his own.
We're hearing he passed the pace car going into the pits, so this was even before the transition, but we are going to green. And it looks like Abner Acosta will be our leader. With his old rival Bradley Hawley starting behind him. Doesn't get the greatest of runs, but he'll slot into second. The 54 of Conquer has recovered from his qualifying woes. Matthew Long back in fourth. And this is looking, well, I was going to say like a tidy restart, but Long has to catch up as he almost loses it coming in behind the 54.
And he's trying to square off the corner on exit just a little bit, trying to get a better run. You see how much he's closing in there. He's not going to have the run and lose a little bit of time here to Conquer right in front of him. So just these different lines that guys are taking and bunching everybody up right now. Some fantastic battles further on back as well.
By the way, just an update. Payne got one lap back manually. Didn't get the lucky dog. So he's gone from 3 laps down to 2 laps down. See if he manages to do any more, because he certainly seemed to have the pace earlier. We continue to watch the leaders in the meantime, all very single file compared to what we witnessed before. In fact, trying to see if we have any side-by-side battles farther down in the field. Looks like the first one is the 46 of Simmons with Besaw Jr. getting passed around the outside.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. It looks like Payne currently 2 laps down. He's the second car not on the lead lap. So he's pretty close to being on.
We got to go to Hawley. Sorry, we got to go to Hawley. He's having a hard time with his car. I've seen him have multiple mistakes. Almost lost second place to Josh Conquer. You can see him ducking underneath him. A little bit of a touch between Long and Conquer. Nothing comes of that, just a hello.
Yeah, so Payne very close to getting his into position for the lucky dog. Just going to have to follow that and see who gets it next time the yellow flag flies.
This is not the first time we've seen Hawley struggle today. I wonder if the car just is a bit of a handful on cold tires or on restarts here.
Yeah, it takes a couple of laps for tires to get up, and right now you have to just kind of realize, hey, it's a long race still. Over 150 laps to go, depending on how this thing times out, because we are against a time limit as well. But right now, it's Acosta 2/10 clear of Hawley and Conquer right behind, trying everything he can to get by.
So Hawley must have recovered from whatever was bothering him, because now the car right back up to the rear bumper of the number 5 machine. They're starting to really drop the field, my goodness. That is Dinkle in the background, the 501. Oh, and was that Sumner in the wall?
Yeah, it looks like it was. That's not a minimal amount of contact. There was some significant contact on that one. And you can see the back of that car. He got rear-ended during one of the incidents earlier on. So he's got going to have a little bit of a different handling race car than when he started tonight. Just going to have to wait to see how that plays out, because he currently just logging laps just outside the top 10.
We're hearing that Charles said he did not touch the wall over the radio, so guess he must have gotten away with it. So a 98 running on his own there in the middle of the pack in 11th currently, as we see the 83. And is that O'Brien trying to come back through? He's up to 19th at this stage. Already passed quite a few cars. Would have restarted around 26, I want to say.
Absolutely, and it's been fun watching him drive through this field just one car at a time. He's got one of the fastest cars out there, as we did see him leading the race earlier, but man, he is making mincemeat of this traffic, just doing everything he can now, trying to get by the 47.
Kind of reminds me of endurance sports car racing. If you're going to have a problem, have it early, because he's still got plenty of this race to recover from this. He's got open road in front of him right now, so he can at least put some laps in and Not worry about how hard he's abusing the tires, fighting. Who's this in pit lane? Looks like Randy McCanney. I have no idea why he's down there. We'll try and look into that in a little bit, but we come back to the lead. Holly still less than a car length back from Acosta. He's certainly giving him the business here, making sure that he's got to watch that mirror closely.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the closest we've seen these front four run on a longer run so far. They seem a little bit more comfortable around each other. They can catch their breath. They've had their opportunity to get settled in. And now I think you're going to start seeing guys be a little more aggressive as Holly just right there behind Acosta trying to get to the point.
And they're going to have some lap traffic, so will that give him some opportunities? This is Knopf and Romero in front of them, not racing for position, by the way, so hopefully they'll be able to get out of the way of these leaders. Romero sporting quite a bit of damage on the front of his machine. The four are going to stay high, and top three are now already through.
Very respectful racing from these guys. They're very heads-up drivers, and that's one thing is just, you know, making sure you know what these guys are fighting for, so you make sure you don't want to impact that at all. It's a very smart driver. They're just holding the bottom, letting those guys fly by.
All right, we are past the 100 lap mark already. So in case you're worried about that 250 number, that once we get the green flag racing going, the laps will fly by. But right now, flying at the front, Acosta leads Holly, leads Conker, with Long and Dinkle rounding out your top five. But really, the first gap we've got is from Long to Dinkle, fourth to fifth position, about a second between them.
Yeah, and you see the timing there on the left side of your screen, just some significant gaps from, you mentioned Long to Dinkle, then Dinkle's about a second clear of Cervantes, then a second back to Simmons. So you see a bunch of cars in the picture, but there's a bunch of lap cars involved in that as well.
There is the 46 of Simmons on your screen as we come back now to the 501 of Trent Dinkle. I was checking in on O'Brien. He's all the way up to 16th already and closing down in on Walden, who's the next that he'll want to try and attack. There's the 9 right now. Actually, that's all for position up in front of him. Goodell and Kalen. And I think we had a blink from Acosta because my timing and scoring went a little wacky for a second. Thankfully, it looks like he's back.
Yeah, those blinks, they can be very distracting if you're in a position like Holly where you're not sure where he's going to be if you want to try to make a move, and that can definitely upset the race cars, as that's just all related to connection issues. But right now, things still running clean at the point. Acosta 2 tenths clear of Holly, but those front four all within a second of each other.
Well, this could be good news or bad news here for O'Brien because he's got battling in front of him. This is going to slow up these cars, but it might plug up the track a little bit and make it harder for him to overtake.
Yeah, we've seen some 3-wide moves, and they barely got away with them, and there you see the 7 starting to blink out just a little bit as well, and that's what we were just talking about. When that car disappears, you don't know where he's going to go, but the 9 able to pick up a couple of spots there.
Walden going to get out of the way. He doesn't fight this one hard. Brian in the 7. Wow. I can't tell if this is pace or if everybody's just pulling aside. Well, the 7's not pulling aside. He had much better pace off of the corner itself as they come through 1 and 2. Well, the 9's going to have to fight for this one. Walden may have pulled over. The 7 does not. Does he slide in front of him? Yes, he does. Now Walden's going to try and take advantage of that. See if he can go by Goodell.
Yeah, and that slide up from O'Brien really made Goodell think about going to the inside, but by the time he had the opportunity to make that move, Walden was there, and they're still side by side. Walden's going to get that spot as well.
So that restart was lap 80, I believe, for O'Brien, down around 25th or 26th. He's all the way up to 14th. Make that 13th here, potentially. Almost gets by Kalen, but not quite.
Yeah, and something that I've noticed is Walden right there. Oh, 3 wide, almost getting the 4 into the wall, and oh, that was a scary moment, especially when you hear 3 wide and you're one of the guys in the middle.
Kalen giving a little apology over the radio to the 4. Carlos tells him no problem. Everybody's able to keep running. No harm, no foul. Oh, and man, Rondoletto, his damage must have hurt his pace, because not only did he fall back earlier on, even after the pit stops when they could have had a chance to try and repair just a little bit of it, he's been continuing to just fly backwards. Pat Harvey just overtook him for 10th.
Yeah, he was in his pit stall about 10 seconds longer than everybody else, trying to take as much repairs. The guys out there beating the fenders out with the hammers, and unfortunately, looks like it does impact his pace, as he's a couple of tenths slower than just about everybody around him.
And Pat Harvey is booking it. He just overtook Pat Cowgill as well. He's up to 9th. So I don't know what the 67 ate this morning for breakfast, but he's gone from 22nd up into the top 10. And now, look at this. He might have something on Besaw Jr. This car is incredibly fast at the moment.
And word is Patrick Cowgill running a little bit hot right now, so going to have to try to find a way to cool down his engine, because that could definitely... We've already seen one car actually blow their engine here tonight, and that's what brought out one of the cautions earlier. So just a matter of time as we come closer and closer to halfway through this race. The lap's starting to fly by.
How's that for contrasting fortunes? O'Brien moving forward, Rondoletto moving backwards. This is going to be O'Brien moving into 11th. Rondoletto might still lose one to Charlie Sumner. And then Walden is trying to follow them through as well. This is, Cowgill is just ahead of O'Brien, so he's just about to the top 10 already. It only took him, looks like, about 40 some odd laps.
Yeah, the next car for position is Patrick Cowgill in the 31. We talked about just a moment ago how he is running hot. He's apparently having to clutch in the corners to keep his engine temps down. And you can hear that if we ride on board with him. You can hear how much he gets out of the throttle, and the revs just die in that car. As here you'll see, just as we go up into the corner here, just the way that he feathers back onto the throttle. We're gonna have to see if he can't keep his engine, in a spot where it is not going to impact the rest of his race. Maybe take some tape off at a pit stop.
That's the marker that O'Brien has been hoping for. Top 10 once again for him. Meanwhile, Conker had a bit of a look on Hawley. In fact, he just had another look on him. And they're dealing with lap traffic as the 4, unfortunately, is just trying to grab some points and mind his own business, but he is very slow out on the track lately. And has not been fun for some of them to try and lap, as the 54 of Conker is liking the low line, but not enough to be able to get the shot.
Yeah, that 4 car just missing the entire front end of his car. Just kind of doing everything he can. Currently running down in the 30th spot. So he's got some work to do, and everybody behind him has retired. I think he's just waiting for attrition to get to some of these other guys.
We are officially past halfway now. Ooh, Conker continuing to push hard. He almost had the nose past the quarter panel there on the exit of 2. This time he's going to fall back in line as they cross the start-finish line once again. As this has been happening, Acosta has been continuing to run away. It's 1.5 seconds ahead of them to the leader. So he seems to be the man to beat when it comes to pace amongst our front 5. And hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. In recent seasons past, he's finally figured out how to handle the tires in these stock cars. So I wouldn't think he's being foolish with his rubber.
Yeah, and right now, Danny Cervantes, he's getting around some lap traffic and having some fun with it. But these two guys, them battling so hard, I think, is what opened up the gap from them to Acosta. And Acosta says, I will take that all day long, as he just tries to find a bit of clean air and get himself out there in a spot where he can just get some more cars lapped down and try to protect himself if caution does come out.
So as they come up to the lapped car of David Wilson, who is actually on fresh rubber. No, excuse me, David Wilson just went by them and is taking off into the distance. So he's trying to get back into this race. The thing about Cowgill, I wonder if that's his setup. Did he put too much tape or something on it? Or if he got into trouble and bumped into somebody and the radiator's all screwed up?
Yeah, that's the thing about the open subs. Sometimes you can go a little bit too extreme with how much tape you have on the car. We're seeing that Cowgill said he's running 180 to 195 on the engine, and Cervantes said the Cowgill pretty much playing RNG with when your engine's going to go. So definitely with how hot he is running, he's going to be praying for a caution and soon and just hope that it's not him.
And my brain at first, when I heard that, thought Russian number generator. Just trying to think Russian roulette or something, but no, random number generator there for them. As we watch that black and yellow 31 continue on. This might have been the longest green flag run we've yet had. Are we going to get green flag stops here? Because I think we're past 50 laps in on this.
Yeah, this is working lap 61 in this run. And yeah, all of these guys, the first run that they had, most of the guys went about 75 laps. There were a bunch of cautions in there. I know that we can go a while longer. But the question is, are they going to decide to come in if a caution does come out? Because we're getting to where we were on that first in that first run.
I remember we saw what David Wilson was doing with fresher tires. He's only got 16 laps on his, and he's just blasting past people around this track as we now head over to the 501 of Dinkel. Still dealing with Long behind him. They've been quite close for much of this race. This is for the 4th position currently.
And by the way, the longer that this run goes on, the more guys get put lap down. Right now, 18th of Charles Sumner appears to be the first car off the lead lap. So all of these guys, Baron Hilton, Scotty Johnson, Ryan Goodell, they're just waiting for a caution. Hilton actually just went a lap down.
We got a bit of a battle for 6th as well. Vsauce Jr. and Cervantes side by side there. You see them on screen. They also are being followed closely by Harvey and Simmons. Those are both for position. The one is not. That is Hutchison just trying to stay off to the side. 3 wide. Oh, and it's starting to go wrong. They all catch it. The 46 starts to come down, though, and he chops off Pat. Still catches the car. Oh, and now he just plows the right side into the exit of 2. Though the car did not turn around, there's no way that thing is handling well after that corner hit.
No, that was a very hard lick, and it's fortunate for some of these guys up at the front to not get a caution, but I think that most of the field right now is praying for one. But that was a hard lick, and that save that he almost had coming off the corner was fantastic, and unfortunately, another bit of contact shot him up into the wall.
So poor Daniel Simmons now all the way back to 10th because of that. Things just got a little too feisty amongst them. But they're really spreading out now. We've got these little pockets of battles. Oh, as that was a wiggle there from Bradley Hawley once again. He must like a loose race car around here, and if he doesn't, I certainly wouldn't want to be in his shoes, because that can't seem fun. The 54 gets underneath him. Charles Sumner kind of blocking his path. Is he going to act as a pick? No. He's going to be able to get underneath the 54. It will follow him through.
Yeah, and one of these things is it reminds me a lot of kart racing. When you go karting with your buddies, you just have one car that can kind of just punch the hole, and everybody else tries to follow through. And I think that's what Holly did there. He was able to get around Acosta. Conker just went right by.
We're hearing some of the drivers saying that the pit window should be open now if they wanted to stop. And the question is, do you want to? Again, they only get 5 sets. Pretty much everybody has taken at least one. I'm not sure if we've had any take 2 sets of tires, though we have had drivers in multiple times. Baron Hilton's one of them. Charles Sumner Rondeletto's in. Rondeletto is pitting.
Yeah, and you can make it from here to the end. So maybe just a strategy call on his end. The biggest thing for some of these guys is, as tricky as the pit entry is, do not get a pit road speeding penalty.
Absolutely. 100 laps to the finish from here. Abner Acosta is your leader right now. Started from 5th place with Bradley Hawley, who only had 1 qualifying lap. Started from 11th, has managed to get up to 2nd place, but that is nothing next to Josh Conker. who really messed up his qualifying, started from 24th and is now in 3rd, and has really been hounding Holly pretty much this entire stint. In fact, he's just got underneath him as we watch this battle on screen. I believe that is Long that we've got there in his fight with Besaw.
And a lot of the guys in the top 10 have had some journeys to get there. Holly started 11th, Dinkle 12th, Besaw started 15th, as well as Pat Harvey from 22nd up to 8th. Baron Labasco from 28th up to 10th. He's had a quiet night. We haven't talked much about it, but he's picked off cars one at a time and already up 18 spots.
Yeah, Robert Besaw is another one that is a part of the playoffs this time through, so this will be a handy result for him. And the question is, now that we've had, where did Rondoletto come out? He's back out in 26th, 3 laps down. That's how costly green flag laps are. He's got to pray that we don't get a yellow from here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, I think that we're going to have to start seeing some, because just the way that the right front has worn for a lot of these guys, depending on how you set up the race car that we talked about earlier, and with some of the damage, we've seen some big wiggles all throughout this field. So it's just a matter of time, I think, until something happens or everybody's going to have to start coming down.
But look at the pace that he's got right now. Rondoletto is easily the fastest car on the track. Last lap for him, a 15 flat. The leaders are running 16.2s. So 1.2 seconds faster on a half-mile circuit.
And wow, the 3 car right now of Besaw just worked his way through just the absolute bundle of cars. And, you know, oh, and we got contact there. The 46 is into the wall, but no caution. Able to get things off the wall and keep it going, but that was another hard hit for him.
So Pat Harvey going to go down underneath, and that is James O'Brien. He's now up to 9th place, actually trying to chase Pat Harvey. They're going to part the seas so that Rondoletto can briefly rush through. Wow, look at that. That is absolutely ridiculous the way he is slicing past people, and it's almost catching a few of them out.
Oh, and the 4 car, he's gonna, on the apron entering the corner. I'm surprised that there was no contact there, but backed out just in time, but he lost a ton of time on track.
Made a joke about multi-class, sports car endurance racing earlier. It almost looks like that with Rondoletto right now. He looks like he's a prototype going through GT cars.
Yeah, the tires are significantly faster, and he's turning some of the fastest laps of the race. But right now is just kind of waiting and seeing and hoping that a caution does not come out, because then you're going to be trapped multiple laps down. And currently, from it looks like from 11th on back to the 21st position, there's a bunch of drivers 1 lap down.
Thing is, if we don't get that yellow, I almost get the sense, as far back as Rondoletto was, that he could jump into the lead. Now, he'll have much older tires when all the leaders finally do pit, so he'll probably get gobbled up at that point. But this will help his position significantly as we get another car in. That's the 20. It's Gandy, so he's actually some laps down. So he's not one of our front runners. We're still waiting for the leaders to finally come in and take fresh rubber. But as we would expect, they're holding out as long as possible. This is Holly on screen, our 2nd place driver, to try and force a caution to come out and catch out guys like Rondoletto.
And Payne comes down pit road now. Baron Hilton works his way down pit road as well. So a bunch of guys coming down pit road with Adam Zemke down as well.
And again, those are many of our drivers farther down in the pack. The highest driver to have taken a recent stop is still Rondoletto. Everybody else is on 90-plus laps on those tires. Cervantes has certainly got a lot to deal with James O'Brien driving angry here, wanting to get back to the front. He's in 8th. This will be position 7 if he can manage to get by. We talked about him trying to chase Harvey, and he's already overtaken that 67. Gets underneath the 25. It doesn't have the momentum off of turn 2. He's going to try it again in 3 and 4.
And he's definitely had a better run on entry to the corner. Still alongside on exit. 25 just barely gets into the wall, but able to keep it off of it through the next set of corners. But now he's lost a ton of ground and he's under pressure once again.
And again, the drivers should be able to get to the finish from here on fuel. It's more of a question of tires.
And about 60 laps or so, or sorry, 50 laps or so from pit stops, I believe. Ooh. So, or until they're completely out of fuel anyway.
O'Brien just got on the radio, said he's pitting this lap, and he's down on the apron himself. Okay, so will this start the dominoes? And will we see more of the leaders start to pit from here on out? As that happens, Rondoletto got one of his laps back from Abner Acosta.
Did somebody just missed the pit road as well? I think that's the 8 of...
That's Zivkov.
Yeah, Zivkov just missed pit road. We talked about how hard it is to get down pit road. So just kind of logging laps, just trying to get down, but has to wait and come down. It's running the single pit lane here, so he has to work his entire lap around under pit road.
Thing is, our cameras aren't showing it as well at the bottom of the track. You can kind of see at the top. There are a ton of marbles down there. It looks like mashed potatoes with pepper just put all over it. And the drivers will have to be careful when they're braking into there because that adds an extra difficulty trying to slow down. Sumner is now in.
Dinkel's now working his way down from the 5th spot.
Pat Harvey pits. So Rondoletto continuing to jump up the field as other drivers pit and come out behind him. I also see Walter Walden pitting in. So let's see, when did Rondoletto pit? Is he able to get to the finish from when he stopped?
He is going to be very close, but he should be able to, yes.
Okay, so had to take a little bit of a gamble with the way he was struggling with his damage. He's now up to 13th. Acosta still out there rolling. Goodell now announcing he's coming into the pits. Esau Jr.'s back out.
Goodell missed the pits as well.
Tries to come back up onto the track and nearly causes another accident there.
And he is struggling right now with how worn his tires are. There's your leader coming into pit road as well, Abner Acosta. Does he make it safely? He does.
For reference, though, Conker, who has already stopped, has caught up to Rondoletto, and he's got 25 lap fresher tires. In fact, there he is right there. That's for position. And what could be the lead as he comes up to Cowgill and has to really check up coming off the corner. They have so much more grip than those around them. It's ridiculous how much they have to adjust to those that are just kind of puttering around on the old rubber.
Yeah, and I ran a multi-class race here in Bristol not too long ago, and it was very, very fun, but very, very tricky. And you talked about, Bradley Holly missed the pits as well.
Oh, no. Dire consequences for the 184. That could cost him the victory.
Multi-class is not easy here. More guys, it looks like, are missing pit road.
Scotty Johnson stays out. Matthew Long is in. Cervantes pits now, so very few cars are left out on the track. Still needing to take one last stop to get to the end. Patrick Cowgill and Scotty Johnson, 108 and 109 laps respectively on their tires. Holly gets in this time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's going to lose a ton of time having missed that first time around and have to see where he cycles out. As Abner Acosta right now, he is one lap down, currently in the 9th spot. Oh, a huge contact there. The 07 got run into. They're 3 wide. Could see almost 4 wide there. Wow.
That's Scotty Johnson, who is technically our leader, but needs to come in, and he's going to be able to find his way down to pit lane. Cowgill's going to stay out. In fact, Cowgill might have to He's almost going to have to force his way to the bottom because cars keep flying by so quickly. Oh, and yeah, he just about cut off O'Brien there. Oh, and he gets hit. That is Kalen, and he gets another hit. Oh, hard into the wall for the 31. That was Mark Kalen with a double contact, just abusing poor Patrick Calgill.
Wow. Some fantastic racing, but only going to have to see where the cycle's out, because it's going to impact his pace the rest of the way here, because he was putting on a fantastic run.
So, well, Patrick Calgill is leading. Conker is our effective leader as the 50. Well, what happened here? We're seeing big damage on Josh Conker. Wonder if we could send our spotter out to see when this happens and find out what caused this. Calgill now gets passed. Conker is officially the leader, as Besaw is the one chasing on just slightly fresher tires, but it's Abner Acosta on only 8-lap old tires who's got the best rubber of this front group.
Yeah, and Calgill yet to make his stop. He's gonna have to wait and wait and wait and see when he does come down. But right now, he does finally work his way down pit road, so he's gonna lose a couple of laps here. But Abner Acosta, we talked about how his issues coming down into pit road barely got down clean, but he is now up into the 3rd position right now.
Oh, and Conker's saying he has to pit. So that damage must be affecting him. I wonder if he's also overheating here tonight. And he's down into it. So Besaw Jr. will inherit the lead. Acosta is chasing him, though, and he's coming strong.
Yeah, the way that he has charged his way up here, he's absolutely put on a show for us. Man, it's so much fun to watch all throughout this field, as there you see your leader right now. But how long will he be in that position?
6-lap pressure tires for Abner. Remember, he led for a good chunk of this race here after the first half, got to the front and controlled the field. Besaw, though, has the track position. There's still plenty of racing left to go in this. Can Robert hold him off? Does Abner have enough, or will he use up his stuff just running down Robert?
I think with so much racing left to go, he can kind of save his stuff just a little bit, but only time will tell in that regard, because we still have 50 laps to go.
Big thanks to our spotter, managed to try and finally track down what happened to Conker. He ran into Trent Dinkle out of turn 3. I'm assuming it's nose-to-tail contact between the pair. We're going to see if we can find a replay later. Oh, Abner just spun. Abner Acosta with a spin, and that brings out the caution. I think he's going to get lucky unless he's very damaged. I don't even know what caused this. I looked away for half a second. He got touched by Goodell in the 7.
Wow.
He slowed up, though. It's almost looks like the 5 has to catch the car off of turn 4. And as he was doing that, the 7 just wasn't heads up in the moment and turns the 5. Acosta, oh no, he had to tow. He is in pit lane. Doesn't look like it. It didn't seem like a hard hit. What is going on?
I'm speechless right now. I'm not sure what happened there. Wow.
Yeah, he just checks up, and then someone in that blue car really avoids disaster. I think, oh, that was Cervantes, I think.
Oh, his engine blew, yes. Just before the contact, I heard he rolled off the throttle.
Wow.
His engine blew, and then he got hit from behind.
Okay, so is there something to be said for the tape here, or is this just drivers bumping into each other too much? Because that's not the first engine pop that we've seen.
No, we've heard of drivers trying to save their engines all night long, and I think most of it has to be from contact out there, because it's Bristol. You know, you're gonna see a ton of contact for these guys. So, wow, that's just an interesting and crazy development right there.
Okay, so put some chalk on your cue and re-rack them, because Besaw is still leading, but now James O'Brien is in second. No, he's pitting in. A bunch of cars are pitting in, and Besaw Jr. is going to get caught out. Goodell stays out to get a lap back, so does Kalen, but the only one on the lead lap, I'm pretty sure, is Robert Besaw Jr., our leader. No, Pat Harvey stayed out as well, and so did Trent Dinkle.
Yeah, I mean, for guys like Besaw, he only has 26 laps on his tires, so it's not like he's running as old of tires as we saw during that last green flag run. But as significant as we've seen tires be, I think that he's probably made the wrong decision there. We're just gonna have to wait and see, because we're only down to 8 cars on the lead lap. So even if he was the only one to come in, he would have had, you would have, some of these guys have fresher tires, and you're not going to lose a ton of track position.
Yeah, it's still, we're looking at 26 to 28 laps on the tires for the 3 that stayed out on the lead lap. We saw Harvey and Dinkle. Rondeletto, oh my goodness. After all that he's gone through, he'll be the lead car on fresh tires, and it's 4 fresh ones as well that he put on. I'm putting my money on the 48. I don't know about you.
And by the way, word from Abner Acosta is that he did blow his engine after the contact with one of the lap cars.
Looks like we are double file. Lights appear to be out. Let's go racing here for the last 45 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the first round of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series. And Robert Besaw Jr. will have control of the field. There goes the pace car. He's on it. Green flag is out. Not seeing too bad a wheel spin from those up front, but it's not Rondeletto. He gets the best jump. At first, it's the 184 around the outside. Holy cow. Here comes Rondeletto. He's a rocket ship.
And he is going to take that thing to the point. It's just going to have to see when he can get there. He's already up into the second spot.
Still dealing with a little bit with Harvey down to his bottom side. The 3 going to go low to defend, but that won't matter. He's through to the lead for Octavio Rondeletto. Started on the pole, had an incident early in the race with a severely damaged car, and suddenly he's back in the fray. But this one's not over. Here comes Holly. He's able to get through as well, and you cannot count out the multi-time champion. That's Long behind him, hoping that he could steal the win. And James O'Brien, who's gone through a similar experience to what Rondeletto did. Back up to the front after a black flag. The 28 underneath the 184. He fancies taking second place away from Holly, but nothing doing.
All those guys that pit now running 1 through 4, with the exception of Danny Cervantes, who still, he must have had a terrible restart, because he is 4 seconds behind everybody else, but he is on the fresher tires.
So top 4 streaking away from everybody else as Trent Dinkle, the next one, finally able to get through Robert Besaw. Their gamble of staying out is just not paying off. The battling between Holly and Long seems to be going well for Rondeletto. Keeps him some distance. Oh, that was a late dive from the 28, but he made it stick.
That was very close, and the 184 almost collecting the wall on exit. Trying to slide up as the 28 still can't do it.
184 is going to carry the speed the long way around, and back into second he goes, denying Matthew Long. But boy, Matt is hungry tonight, willing to take some risky moves. A little bit of a look from James O'Brien doesn't produce third.
And this is going to be an intense last 40 laps. Wow, these front 4 have really put a gap on everybody else, and you see how much clean racetrack they have up in front of them as well. So gonna get dicey here. Fantastic bit of driving there. The 9 car just of O'Brien. Some fantastic dives into the corner, but he can't make it work like he could earlier on.
On the 28, nearly gave a small shove to the 184 as he found the line that he wanted, interrupted. In fact, it's going to check him up again. O'Brien almost able to get by that, but the 9 can't keep the speed up.
And that's the biggest thing, is you can't get that same run off the corner that you would. 9 wants to get clear as quickly as he can, but now he's door to door with the 184.
And incredibly, all 4 of these drivers still have one more set of tires if they need it. If we get another caution at some point in this last stint, it could go long enough if they feel like it's worth risking, as James O'Brien still trying hard to get onto that podium position, but Matthew Long is having none of it.
Yeah, that battle for the 3rd spot is, I don't think it's going to go away. 9 car now clear, but what can he do on exit?
What happened there?
Wow, he just...
Did he blow his engine as well?
I think he blew it. Yeah, he is very slow there.
The 28 is our latest victim of what appears to be very fragile engines, and that still brings out the caution, unfortunately. Well, I thought for sure he was well off the line.
Now, is this the saving grace for guys like Bison, Cervantes, and Harvey?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, now they're going to come down pit road and get fresh tires. What's everybody in front of them going to do? I think everybody's going to have to pit here.
Yeah, well, if I was Robert, after what happened last time, the first thing I'd do is call the pits and say, give me 4 fresh ones, because that did not work whatsoever. And we're going to restart with about 25 laps to go on this one. It's coming down to it, and we have got some hot shoes up at the front.
Wow. Looks like they're all going to be coming down pit road. Is anybody going to stay?
That's
no.
Payne getting a lap back. 34, I think, also getting a lap back. Labasco, yeah.
And so everybody did come in pit road this time.
Yeah, everybody on the lead lap. Well, does Zemke's? Nope. Zemke's on the lead lap, and he is going to stay out. I mean, he's got so little to lose right here. He might as well try it. But he hasn't even cycled through yet. I don't know if he's going to get the lead. He's so far down the line of cars. If Rondoletto gets out pretty quick, he might keep Zemke down. It's going to be close. No. Oh, he just missed it by about 20 feet.
That was a close race off pit road, and I can't wait to see what these last 25 or so laps are going to be like, because everybody on fresh rubber is going to make for some fantastic racing.
So Zemke pits anyways. Decides it's not worth it. I guess he thought maybe I can cycle to the front. And while he will, he's going to have everybody behind him on fresh rubber now. So might as well pit. He'll come back out, get in line, see what he can gain from this. So your order is Rondoletto, Hawley, O'Brien, Dinkle, Besaw, Harvey, Cervantes, and Zemke on the lead lap, along with Labasco, Holland, and looks like Scotty Johnson getting their laps back by staying out. So they're going to cycle back through, but their rubber will be slightly older.
Yeah, and now you have to wonder if we do get another caution. I think nobody has a set left, so that's going to put everybody on level playing ground near to the end.
Dinkle, Besaw, and Harvey only show 3 stops. They for sure have another set. Wow. So their staying in might actually pay off if the timing goes right, like you said. Oh. The tables have turned. What looked like a foolish call could wind up being an ace up their sleeve at the end. Otherwise, Rondoletto, Hawley, and O'Brien have all taken their last set of tires. Here we go. Pace car is in. Rondoletto is on it, and the green flag is out. Hawley going to slip into second easily. What about O'Brien with his battle for third? Will he have to repeat that? No, he'll stay in P3. Dinkle just behind him, followed by Robert Besaw Jr. Pat Harvey having to battle with Cervantes, our only side-by-side amongst the front group right now.
Yeah, I was surprised. Rondeletto, I thought that he spun his tires a little bit of a wiggle on that restart, but able to keep things going. And wow, these guys are angry at the ends here. They've got some, everybody in quite close quarters. Cautions breed cautions, as they say. And with 25 laps to go, I think that's going to be the case.
Dinkel got loose, and he got a big hit from behind by Besaw. That lost them a bunch of time. Besaw was not able to make the overtake because of that. Great news for the top three, as they've got the race themselves now up at the front. As we come around to start lap 229 now. And these three on fresh rubber are going to be distancing themselves from everybody else. Are they going to catch up to guys like Cowgill and Scout quickly? Will they find themselves dealing with lap traffic here at the end? We've only lost what looks like about 6 or 7 drivers over the course of this race.
Yeah, and it's been some fantastic racing all throughout from start to finish. It started out kind of rough with some quick cautions, and then we've had some long green flag runs, and we're going to have to see what happens these last 20 laps, because these guys are not going to let anybody make a mistake in front of them and not pay the price.
So I'm going to put the, I'm going to grab my red pitchfork, play devil's advocate here. These three running away, are they going to mess up their tires if we get a caution, especially with those other drivers having a set behind them to try and duck in and take? Could this bite them?
I don't think so. I think that, they have made their bed, and we're just going to have to line and now see where things play out, because if their caution does not come, and these guys are in the catbird seat as we now are just working lap after lap. They fly by here at Bristol, coming to about 15 to go.
O'Brien's looking feisty. He's battling with the 184. Briefly got side by side with the leader even, working that bottom line. He seems to like it, but the number 48 retains the top spot. The 184 stays in second place. I almost feel like that Holly's boxed in, though. Every lap, he's got no place to go when the 9 gets underneath him.
And he had the opportunity there when the 9 dropped back just enough, but Holly sticks right behind the 48. And now there you see the 9 car of O'Brien tucking in line, or tucking to the inside once again. But it compromises exit speed. You see how far back he is now, about 2 or 3 car lengths on corner entry. Now he's going to have Bradley Holly to the inside.
Holly gives it a go, but can't quite get it in there. He gets back into line. The 9 goes underneath him as they come upon the lap traffic I warned about. That is Patrick Cowgill up first, going underneath him. Rondeletto gets through. The 184 has to follow single file, and the 9 will as well.
Yeah, that's really going to hurt the run of some of these guys. They were all nose to tail, and now O'Brien peeks to the inside once again, but can't do anything with it. He's just about at the door, but not yet. Now it's up to the number 4 as Romero tries to stay out of the way. We go 3 wide as the 9 continues to hound the 184, who blinks himself. And we get a caution. There's a car parked against the inside retaining wall on the front straightaway.
Is that Goodell? I see him get a little sideways through 3 and 4 here on my replay. Oh, yeah, he gets sideways. And the 83, unfortunately, has to check up to try and stay out of him.
Now, here's the thing. When we go green, we're going to have about 5 laps to the end. Those guys that have tires, is that going to be enough time for them to get around?
Oof. Yeah, this is a tough call. So little time to do anything when they get the fresh rubber. Honestly, if I'm one of those that has a set left, I say go for it. What major difference are they going to see as we watch the replay there with the 7 winding up, stopped on the front stretch? What major difference are they going to experience between finishing 4th and 7th place, Yeah,
and we've seen crazy things happen on these restarts, and just waiting to see if anybody is a taker here down pit road.
Looking to see Labosco. Labosco is going to come in. Is there anybody else? I don't see anybody else in pit lane, so I'm a bit surprised. No takers amongst the likes of Dinkel, Harvey, and Besaw. I would have thought at least guys like Scotty Johnson, who just got their lap back, maybe they would risk something. But no, everybody's going to stay out.
Yeah, and Labasco, he did. It looks. I'm not sure if that was tires or if he just took some repair to that car, but he's going to get back rolling and not lose lap. He's going to stay on lap 1. Or on the lead lap.
When we restart, this is going to be 7 to go. Is that right? Or is this 8 to go here? Let's see if the lights go off this time. Bye. Lights are still on, so yeah, 7 to go when we get racing. And what a sprint that's going to be for our drivers. You know, we were talking about the time limit before. Real quick, let me see what the time is, actually. 10 minutes left on the clock. 10:30 to be exact. So plenty of time to get this one in. Really glad we're going to be able to finish this. Hate to see this ended by the timer after such magnificent racing out there today. Hasn't been the cleanest, but we've also seen some beautiful saves out there, and we are getting ready to be presented with a stunner if this looks anything like the green flag racing we saw before.
Yeah, we do have one green-white-checkered attempt if we need it. So it just depends on if something happens and what lap the leader is on. We do have that one attempt in the bag if something happens towards the end of this race.
Yeah, that's true. At worst, we get one yellow, we get one more restart, and then another yellow. That could run us out of time. As long as we get to about 4 to 5 laps to go, then that will trigger the green-white checkers, and we should at least see a finish with that. But right now, we're getting ready for this restart. There goes the pace car. Ron DeLetto is on it, and the green flag is out. Bradley Hawley is not totally clear of the 9 this time like he was before, but O'Brien doesn't seem to have the rubber underneath him. Trent Dinkle gets to catch back up because of that yellow, and he is back in the mix.
Yeah, and single file out front once again. That's something that these drivers have done just about every single restart is the top 5. Really just kind of getting themselves in a line and trying to pull away before they start fighting with each other. We got a big wreck here going into turn 3. The 47 of Hilton is involved, yeah.
And it looks like Andrew Payne, oh man, this is a day to forget for the 93. Going to finish multiple laps down and caught up in a yellow at the very end. So I don't know if we'll get the green-white checkers on this, actually.
It'll absolutely be close. We're not seeing an indication that this will use it quite yet.
Still got 8.5 minutes left on the clock. Here's the replay of the incident. Yeah, the 4 came down a little, and everybody was so tight together on that restart, Chad. It was almost inevitable that we'd get a wreck out of that.
Yeah, that's that typical caution, green cautions that we were talking about. And yeah, just the 4 very, very high. And oh, that wiggle is what sent him. And unfortunate to collect so many cars, but like we've talked about all race long, there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide.
So the caution laps last about 47 seconds around here. That'll take us right up to it. I think we have triggered the green-white checkers on this. Let me see here. We're not getting the message through iRacing quite yet. Are we going to get a 1-lap shootout, actually? Is that what it's going to be? 2. Okay.
Yep, and there it is. There is the indication from iRacing. This is going to be the first attempt and only attempt at the green-white checkers. So these guys take the green, and then the next flag will, or the green and then the white. But whatever flag comes out is going to end this race. And man, with the way it's been going, I don't think that these guys are going to tuck into single file like we've seen the last couple of restarts.
Good news is it's still 7 minutes left, so I'm pretty certain we'll see this go to completion. And we just have to wait for them to get all lined up and ready to go on the GWC. Ron DeLetto last season had a couple of wins. I'm double checking my stats here on that one. Actually, 1 win So he was one of those that had a single victory. O'Brien had none, by the way, that season. Hawley had 2. Long had 2, and then 3 for Abner Acosta, which is, I'm sure, incredibly disappointing that he wound up 5th in the points. Of course, Acosta not in the hunt for the win this time, but Rondeletto trying to kick things off with a win to get this championship run, hopeful championship run, off on the right foot. Lights are still on, so we're going to need to go around at least one more time. I think they're going out this time by. There we go. So, next time by, we'll get a green flag. Hopefully, we'll see a white, which will take us all the way to the checkers without a yellow. If we get a yellow before that white flag, that ends the race. And whoever is in the lead is your winner. Look at the little games there from the 184, trying to get the tires and brakes up to temperature a little bit here to get them better on the restart. 48 waiting for it. Pace car going to peel in. There it goes. Rondeletto is on it. Green flag is out. It's a good jump from Hawley. He's going to clear O'Brien. Can he chase down in 2 laps the 48 of Octavio Rondeletto? It's not looking good. He is not anywhere near to him. It's a battle behind them for 3rd place between O'Brien, and a smack into the wall between himself and Dinkle. We are going to go green to the finish. Up at the front, Rondeletto has about a car length ahead of Bradley Hawley. I don't think there's anything in it. Hawley doesn't take the dive. Rondeletto off of turn 4 is going to take the win here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Wow, what a fantastic race. They wad him up back behind. That's after they've crossed the line, so I think there's really no harm, no foul on that one.
Exactly. Oh, what a race to the finish. The fireworks go off in celebration as Rondeletto is going to get to burn it down here after taking a victory on the season opener. We're going to take a quick break ourselves. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Round 1 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series saw Octavio Rondeletto go from the lead to the back after damage, have to take an alternate pit strategy, and somehow, with the cautions, worked himself into a position to get to the front yet again and take the victory. Bradley Hawley had him sweating at the end and got close, but settled for 2nd place. James O'Brien was P3 with Trent Dinkle in the 4th position. Pat Harvey was P5, starting from 22nd. Robert Besaw Jr. almost saw himself have a chance at the win, but did not take tires when he could have at the very end. Wonder if that would have made a difference. He finished in 6th. Adam Zemke was 7th with Danny Cervantes, started on the front row and falling back to 8th. Baron Labosco was 9th from 28th. Hutchison did not qualify, so he went from 35th to 10th.
In the 11th spot was Scotty Johnson. A quiet day for him, but a respectable finish there with Waldo Walden taking 12th. Then Mark Kalin, Charles Sumner, Ken Ailens takes the 15th spot, followed by Baron Hilton, and then Michael Witt and Andrew Payne finished 2 laps down. 3 laps down was Patrick Cowgill, and wrapping up the top 25 laps down was Luka Zivkov.
Taylor Stout was 6 laps down in 21st, Skip Gandy 22nd, and Goodell in 23rd. I think we're getting into the DNFs from here on down, including poor Abner Acosta, who looked like a potential winner here today as well. And don't forget about Payne, who only found himself in 18th in the end. But that takes us to our second place finisher here today, Bradley Hawley. He didn't have the best of qualifying and mysteriously pulled off in the middle of his qualifying and only could get up to 11th because of that. But he overcame that and wound up P2. Brad, what did happen in the qualifying today that caused you to pull off halfway through?
I messed up. Basically, I pulled a bonehead move going into turn 1 and killed my tires immediately.
It obviously put you a little farther down than I'm sure you would have liked to start, but you eventually found your way up towards the front. From there, though, you had those long runs in the latter half of the race. Was it getting pretty tough to handle the car when those tires wore out?
Yeah. It just really depended on how I was driving the setup. The first run, it was getting a little tight on exit, and then I fixed that with my changing my line and made myself tight center and a little loose off. But it was kind of hit or miss, and on what lap traffic was doing. There was a lot of factors.
We saw so many engines go the way of the dodo today, unfortunately. What do you think was going on out there? Was it just cars hitting each other too much and damaging the engine, or was it the weather conditions?
I'm sure it was more front end damage. You know how these cup cars are. You get a little bit of a crinkle, and all of a sudden it jumps 10 degrees. My car was right there at the cusp, and I knew if I had any front end damage, I was going to need to take at least 10% tape off.
Wow. So everybody kind of pushing the limits here today. Starting off with a podium, is there anybody you want to thank for this one?
I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting us week in and week out. You always put on a great show. I'd like to thank the Waterback guys. We worked hard on figuring out how we need to drive the setup and drive track and come up with the strategy, and it paid off for most of us.
It certainly did. That was our second place finisher, Bradley Hawley, here today. Looks like we have our winner waiting for us, Ron DeLetto. So we've got Chad ready to talk to today's victor.
Octavio, what a fantastic drive for you. You came away with the victory, but when all those cautions were coming out towards the end of the race, what was going through your head?
I reivindicated. The race was amazing. I really enjoyed it. It started in the pole in the first time in the PRL, and I worked so hard all the race. I had to came from the back, overtaking cars to recover the lap, and I'm here in the top position. I'm really happy with it. I really enjoyed it.
What was going through your head towards the end there when you made your last pit stop and everybody in front of you did not? Were you thinking that you just had to take your time and get by them, or what was your strategy there?
I had big damage in the left, in the right side, and my tire was destroyed. I had to pit, and the strategy went so good, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive for you, and you guys put on a fantastic show. That green-white-checkered, how nervous were you?
With no tires, I repeat that the damage was so hard. I'm surprised the car finished in top because the damage in the tire was so hard, and I was so nervous that the car behind was really clean. both cars was really clean, really fast drivers, and I had to maintain their day behind with damaged car and with damaged tires.
A fantastic drive for you tonight. And anybody you want to thank?
All the team, Junco Racing eSports, my dad, who is next to me here, my spotter, Gregorio Dorso, and all the team who was supporting me all the race, sponsors, Libres Argentina, Distribuidora Delta, PC Workshop, and Gomez River Blade.
Congratulations on the win, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much, Chad.
Yeah, that's Octavio Rondoletto, your winner here tonight from Bristol. It looks like up next we're going to catch up, Joe. It looks like you've caught up with James O'Brien.
Indeed, third place finisher, another one that was really up towards the front and hassling our leaders, and also one of our playoff contenders. So a third can't be too disappointing, James, knowing that'll put you in a good position on that overall year-long championship. But even still, what are your thoughts after that race and finishing in third?
It kind of is a little sour. I was told I was the fastest car on track for most of the race. Got a black flag for passing the pace car, fought all the way back up to second. And then there was a glitch on pit road that pushed me back a little bit. Apparently, the pit road wasn't open for me initially, so I had to go around one more lap, and that caused everybody ahead of me to get out ahead of me. So I'm coming in second, coming out seventh, I believe it was. So I had to kind of fight all the way back up to Octavio and Brad. So kind of sour there, but I'm proud of being able to pass all those cars and keep the car clean the entire race. The setup was amazing. I thank my teammates for that because I was really busy this week, so I couldn't really do much work as I usually do.
What do you feel made the difference for you trying to go through the field? We saw so many cars that were unable to avoid one another today and fall victim to getting involved in wrecks, but you just basically sliced up.
I chose the bottom lane primarily. It seemed to be where everybody wasn't. Everybody liked to run the top, and I was trying to make the bottom work. And as the tires came in, the setup was insane on the long run. It was just so quick, and I was shocked. I think I went from like 25th to 7th before I pit. Got like a tire warning. My crew chief, whatever you want to call it, they gave me like a warning, but my tire was too worn out, and I think it was a mistake because it was still fine, and that seemed to start the flood of pit stops coming in. But yeah, the car was just handled great on the bottom and on the long run, so I think that was the key.
Which would you say is a bigger focus for you this season? Do you want to repeat the championship, or do you want to win the playoffs?
I'd like to do both. I'd like to defend the championship, but really the main championship. So Octavio isn't really a target so much. I'd like to win another race because I've only won one this whole year, but it's more Brad, Matt, and the other contenders that are usually up front all the time, Trent, all them. So if I just focus on them and just trying to stay clean like I usually do, no mistakes, just consistency.
We'll watch out for it. Certainly impressed us seeing you slice through the field, and congratulations on a podium.
Thank you.
It was James O'Brien third today. One last one. I think Chad has caught up with Trent Dinkle in the 501.
Yeah, Trent, a fantastic run for you. Came home in the fourth position. Just tell us about your race a little bit.
Yeah, it was a good race. I messed up my first qualifying lap and kind of dumped it going into one, so I had to restart and then just played it safe. So I got, stuck in 12th, which wasn't horrible, but everybody was kind of running the high line for the most part. So I just kind of hung back and everybody else's tires wear out a little bit. And then once everybody started to fall off, kind of was creeping up. And then, once the cautions started coming in, everything, kind of started going my way a little bit. Yeah, I definitely know we started running the bottom line when we came out of the pits, and it seemed like if you could run the bottom line for 20 or 30 laps, you had a lot more tire than the people that were running up top. So that's what me, Rob, and Pat started doing, and it paid off pretty good for the three of us.
Yeah, that's interesting. Normally, you think of the inside the one that chews up the tires the most, but
Yeah.
interesting bit of strategy there, and it seemed to work for you. Coming towards those last couple of restarts, did you think you had any shot at those guys up front?
Well, I think I had something for James just because it was pretty hard to, pass people on the inside line. And then on that Green-white-checkered, I was pretty well even with him. And then 4 being a little bit tighter, I got on the gas too quick and just smacked the wall pretty hard, and that kind of ruined all that chances. But, I felt pretty good. Had Rob and Pat behind me, and they were pretty quick, so wouldn't mind letting a teammate by me if it came down to it.
Week 1 of a brand new season here. What's your goals for this season? Any tracks you're looking forward to or anything?
I don't really have any tracks that I'm like super looking forward to, but I'm just happy to be, get a good race in, and then hopefully next week have a good race, and maybe win one of these races and keep myself in the playoffs. And who knows? Never know. Get down to the last 4 and get a lucky couple races, and I'm a winner. So we'll just try and keep in there and see what season brings.
Well, hey, congratulations on the top 5. Who helped get you here?
Definitely. I got a huge thanks to Rob and Waldo and Pat and all those guys, because they really, they can mess with the setups. They help with qualifying and kind of just show up and drive them, because I have no idea how to build setups. But then, a huge thanks to Rocket Racing Setups, because they, out of the box, they have some of the fastest setups you can get, and then just a big thanks to my parents, because I know they're out there watching right now.
Well, congratulations on a fantastic drive, and best of luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you very much.
That's Trent Dinkel, your 4th place finisher here today. And Joe, what a fantastic show from all of those guys.
It was fun to watch. It was fun to call, and I can't wait for the rest of this season if this is what it's going to be like. Before we go, though, we want to thank our sponsors for this series, which includes ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. As well as ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. And SimMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts we've listed on your screen. And additional thanks go to Julie Law, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, Chad, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. And also check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on the channel. The next race will be at Las Vegas, Sunday, September 26th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.